What is our third main topic today?
Next one is from Greg Topher. Well, it came close, but Pokemon didn't knock Endgame out of the top spot. Still, I'm kind of surprised how much Endgame has dropped. After it opened to almost $360 million in the first weekend, I would have thought 90 plus million on its third would have been relatively easy. Why do you think it only pulled 63 million?
It is so funny that we're living in a context right now where we're asking, why did a movie in its third weekend only make $63 million? It's like one of the greatest third weekends in the history of Hollywood. But because of the overwhelming success of Endgame on the front end, we're all sitting here, how come it only made $63 million? Let's first set the table here. $63 million for a third weekend is insane. I mean, that is unbelievable. Is it as much as we thought maybe their third weekend would be after that $357 million opening? No, maybe not that big, but it goes back to what we've been talking about a lot. We have two growing trends in Hollywood. Growing trend number one, the opening week, the importance of opening weekend in Hollywood box office has been getting more and more important. Number two, and partially connected, is because there is a growing trend in moviegoers to go and see movies earlier and earlier in its release. So when you get a movie that opens at 357 million, that means a lot of people went to go see it already. That means almost everybody went to go see it already, and almost everybody's seen it multiple times already. So yes, the 60% drop from week 1 to week 2. Yes, nearly another 60% drop from week 2 to week 3, but I would argue that is somewhat to be expected. Now, did I expect it to be a little bit higher than 63? Yes, I did. But, I mean, let's not be totally shocked, and let's not act like this is some kind of big letdown for them. Now, I thought a number of weeks ago that Pokemon had a good shot at taking out Endgame for the number one spot at the box office, and it came close. So let's take a review here of the box office from this weekend. It came close. Avengers Endgame, once again, made $63 million. Detective Pikachu came like within $5 million, $58 million. Now, we'll talk about their ordering here in a second, but let's go on. The Hustle in its opening weekend made a little bit of a disappointing $13.5 million, but the reviews for that movie have been abysmal. It's the remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Stay home this weekend and rent Michael Caine and Steve Martin's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. The Intruder in its second week made another 6.6, and Long Shot, which is great, by the way, guys. Check out Long Shot. If you guys,
I loved it.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Oh, awesome. It's made another $6.1 million. Now, with Avengers Endgame, I was talking on open mic this weekend with my audience, and some people are like, hey, yes, Endgame was number one again. I don't know. Here's the thing. Endgame probably shouldn't have been number one at $63 million. I mean, really, the story here is that Detective Pikachu made less than a lot of us thought it would. Because a lot of people, well, first of all, I had a lot of people screaming at me, John, you don't understand anything. Pokemon is the number one IP brand in the world. It's going to make 150 million opening easy. And I'm like, whoa, pump your brakes a little bit. I think it's got a shot at beating Endgame in its third weekend, but let's not get ahead of ourselves with this 150 million opening. I understand it's the biggest IP in the world, but that doesn't automatically mean a box office return is going to be good anyway. But even I thought it would be higher than 58. If you had told me that Endgame was going to make 63, I probably would have guessed, okay, then Pokemon will have not a lot of problem beating it. It should come in around 70. That's where I was picking it. Now, the projection numbers were under 70, but I still thought it would come in that high. So the bottom line, though, is this. If you were to tell Marvel and ask Marvel, hey, for weekend 3 of Avengers Endgame, would you rather, A, have Avengers be number one at the box office again, making $63 million? Or would you rather, B, have Avengers Endgame come in second at the box office, but make $70 million? I'll tell you right now what Bob Iger would say. Oh, no question. I'll take second place at the box office with $70 million instead of 63. I mean, in a heartbeat, he would have taken that. And really, at 63 million, it's a number that Pokemon, that was a beatable number. $63 million was a beatable number for Pokemon to catch up to Endgame. And I think Endgame coming number one at the box office this weekend is really more, the story here is about Pikachu not doing as well as I think it could have, rather than Endgame being so dominant it took number one at the box office again. I mean, again, $63 million in its third weekend. Do not underplay how momentous that is. Just again, at a $63 million return, I think that was beatable. Detective Pikachu in a movie like this should have been able to beat it. So I don't know what kind of kept it in that high 50s and range. I don't know what kept it there, but it is what it is, and it kind of came in at that.